All right, good evening. Welcome to the January 27th, 2026 meeting of the Bexar County Board of Education. It's 6 p.m. and the meeting is now called to order. Could I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
So moved. Mr. Callaway.
Motion by Mr. Callaway, second by Ms. Bradford. All in favor? All right, thank you. All right, we'll move on to the superintendent's report.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Good evening, board members. I'll start with just addressing the winter weather. Staff has informed me that there may have been some varying opinions about opening school today on a normal schedule.
One or two.
So maybe I'll offer a differing perspective from my point of view. I want to thank our school leaders for making the necessary adjustments and making sure our kids had a nice warm place to come and get loved on and learn today. I think it was a very, very successful day. All things considered, our transportation team did a wonderful job getting our kids to school on time for the most part and safely. System staff, along with our school leaders, were working throughout the weekend, talking with all of our local officials, making sure that everything was they knew exactly what to expect this morning and everything was ready to go for our kids. I want to thank our public safety partners, our utility partners. It truly is a team effort and a village to do everything that we need to do to make sure that we can attend school when it's easy, but also attend school when there's a few more challenges in front of us, because that is what our kids deserve. So just really proud of our community and the effort that was put forth over the weekend and yesterday to make sure that our kids had what they need. And I think it's the result of our collective community understanding that we serve a lot of different students that have a lot of different needs. We serve students who might have some housing instability. We serve students with food insecurities. And we serve students with a plethora of special needs, and for our leaders to make sure that they have a place to attend, even when it's a little bit harder, is what makes us different and what makes us a little special. So I just want to start by thanking the whole team here, and as well as the extended team in the community. Also proud of, or thankful, I should say, to White Oak Baptist Church and the MLK Committee for including us in the MLK celebration this month. Just a wonderful demonstration of our community and how unified and together we are. Really appreciate them. We were able to participate in the Helen Ruffin Reading Bowl, I think last week, hosted by our friends at BASA. Appreciate them. And we were able to host a spelling bee this month right here in this room. Proud of our kids. I think we'll get to celebrate them very soon. And the last thing I want to talk about is, before my action item here, is just this is our first work session of the new year, and just really proud of the work that this board has done alongside our staff. You know, the end of the year is kind of a great time to reflect, and it's been a year of change. I think it's been a year of raising the bar and raising expectations. You know, staff would tell you that we started off this year really spending a lot of time talking about clarity and alignment, and you guys have set the stage for that work. Over the course of the past year, you were able to develop your norms and beliefs as a governance team. You developed board policy, school governance, BAB, which has certainly allowed us to align our work and understand exactly what the expectations of this Board of Education are. You've commissioned a salary study to make sure that we are able to recruit and attract the best, which we're looking forward to being able to present to you very soon. You were somehow able to work alongside me and roll our millage rate back, also at the same time while implementing a tax relief for our seniors. Which is an incredible task, and I think it took a lot of effort from a lot of different folks, but that began with your leadership. You have supported us wholeheartedly in engaging our community to complete a strategic plan, which we are going to take the next step forward on that this week with our staff. And in the interim, you've also helped us to develop some short-term achievement goals for our students. That doesn't capture all of it, but those are some highlights over the last year, and just want to say thank you for that. And I'm really, really excited about the work that occurred last year, but I'm even more excited about the work that is in front of us. And no secret why we've got this award right here sitting in front of me, the Exemplary Board Award, and we're looking forward to celebrating you guys a little bit more next week on that. But thank you for the work you do. Thank you for the last year, and more importantly, thank you for the year that's in front of us. And I've got just one action item. Annually, we ask the Board of Education to affirm policy BH, the Board of Education Code of Ethics. So I would recommend that that is placed on the consent agenda. And that concludes my report.
All right. Everyone good with that? Consent? All right. Moving on to presentations and discussions. We'll start with Dr. Thompson.
Good evening. So for the board this evening, we have 3 items of information. We also have 3 action items, 2 of which we're going to ask the board to consider for the February action on the February 3rd board meeting. 1 we are going to ask the board to consider voting on tonight, and we'll go into some of the reasoning for that when we get to that item. The first thing you'll see posted is the December communications report is posted for your review. So this is covering the month of December. So if you are missing the holiday season and would like to go back and see some of the photos and communications from that, you have the ability to do it. You also have our 100th day of student school count posted. That means on the January communications report, as is the tradition statewide, you will see tons of photos of elementary students dressed as old men and women in honor of the 100th day of school, but you can see that posted as well. So for the third information item, I'm going to ask Ms. Persinger to come up and present for this item. You'll recall we've presented to the board earlier this fall on your milestones results from the 2024-2025 school year. We also talked about CCRPI results. And then last month in November, actually for the November work session, Dr. Brown talked a little bit about federal identification criteria. And what we're going to talk tonight about is the results for that school year, both federal accountability criteria as well as the Georgia Promise Scholarship. And Ms. Persinger will walk you through all of that.
Thank you, Dr. Thompson. Good evening. So tonight I would like to share just that overview of the federal school identification list and the Georgia Promise Scholarship public school list that outlines our federal and state accountability designations and their impact on our schools. So to begin, just to review, like Dr. Thompson said, we've already talked about the College and Career Ready Performance Index, or CCRPI, Georgia's annual tool for measuring how well schools are preparing students for the next level, be that the next school grade or on in post-graduation. It reports across 5 components: content mastery, progress, closing gaps, readiness, and then at the high school graduation rate, each on a 0 to 100 scale. And that CCRPI fulfills the accountability requirements under both federal and state law. So federal law does require that states identify school for supports based on student performance outcomes. So Georgia uses those CCRPI component scores to determine which schools will fall into one of those categories. So the 3 federal categories that Georgia has identified as using those criteria are the Comprehensive Support and Improvement, or CSI list, the Targeted Support and Improvement, or TSI list, and Additional Targeted and Support and Improvement, ATSI list. These designations help ensure that the students who need the most support actually receive it. So our CSI schools are identified based on the lowest performing 5% of all Title I schools in the state. Or it could be a high school with a graduation rate at 67% or below, which, you know, we're well above 90 right now. And then schools that have been identified on the ATSI list for multiple years for the same subgroup. They identify these schools every 3 years. So the last time schools were identified as CSI was based on 2023 data. And we did not have any schools that had met the criteria for that list. So we just want you to know that that list is there, but we don't have any schools that qualify for that. So then the next is the targeted support and improvement list. Those are schools with one or more student groups, so it could be any ethnic or ethnicity groups, or it could be economically disadvantaged students or students with disabilities, English learners, any of those smaller groups that are underperforming compared to the rest of the school. And these identifications are made annually. So Winder Elementary School has been identified as a TSI school based on the performance of their students with disabilities group during the 24 and the 25 school years. So we continue to work closely with Winder Elementary and their leadership and staff to support those targeted improvement efforts for that group of students. And then the final federal list is the ATSI, and those schools are identified every 3 years. So again, that list came out in 2020, based on 2023 data, so once we get that data calculated. And it's where a individual student group, one of those same student groups, is performing at a level that independently would have qualified for that cut score of the CSI. So if you go back 2 slides where it's the bottom 5%, whatever that cut score is, if you have a student group performing at that level, you're on the ATSI list. So Auburn Elementary, as we've told you before, was identified based on the performance of its students with disabilities, based on that 2023 data. Since they're presented or identified every 3 years, this 2026 data, the data from the test we'll take this year, is the first opportunity Auburn will have to move on that list. So they were identified based on that 23 data, and we've been putting some supports in place, and then they'll be looked at again in 2026. So we do, again, have support teams coordinating with Dr. Carter and the rest of the staff at Auburn Elementary to ensure that those intervention strategies are aligned and effective for those students. So before we move on, does anybody have any questions about those federal lists? Okay, then let's look at the Georgia Promise Scholarship School list. This is the Georgia Promise Scholarship was established under Senate Bill 233 in 2024. And it identifies Georgia Public Schools with overall CCRPI scores, so that not student groups, the whole school score, in the bottom 25% of the state to create the list for this. So remember, it doesn't matter how anybody's performing, there's always going to be a top 25% and a bottom 25%. You got to fall somewhere in that range. So even when schools are improving, they could drop below whatever that cutoff is that year for the 25%. So for the 2025 CCRPI results, Yargo Elementary was identified for inclusion on this list. So just a little bit about what that scholarship means. To be eligible to take advantage of the Georgia Promise Scholarship, a student has to be enrolled in a Georgia public school for 2 or more semesters, or they could be a rising kindergartner, meaning they haven't even started in our public schools yet. They have to reside in the attendance zone for the identified school, and they have to have a parent who's been a resident for at least a year unless they're part of active duty military. So once granted, the student can take advantage of that scholarship that allows them to apply for $6,500 annually to put towards education somewhere other than in their public school. And they can take advantage of that scholarship until they graduate or until they return to public school. So it doesn't matter whether they move out of the zone, they could move out of Bexar County into another district, but because they were in one of our school zones when they were identified, they can continue to take advantage. If they're going to private school, those private schools must agree to some certain things to receive that money and participate in some testing rules to kind of give that accountability for that state money. And then importantly, if a school moves off a list and a student had not already taken advantage, then the student has lost the ability to apply. Okay, so last year we had 3 schools that were on this list, and the only data we get from that is that 69 students took advantage of that program. We don't know which of those 3 schools they were from. We don't know what grades they were. That's the information we're given. But across the district, all of our schools are embedded in our instructional improvement cycle. We're working to improve student learning outcomes. That next slide is just a visual representation of what we just presented. We don't have anyone on CSI, and then you can see those other identified lists. And, we use these indicators to guide improvement and plan our resources and our resource allocation. And they're important data points for continuous improvement, but they don't define who we know our schools are. We know that our staff and our leaders are committed to continuous improvement, and we look forward to seeing what our test scores from this year show. So do I have any questions?
Ms. Persinger, when will
Yes.
those test scores come out?
So the test will finish in May of '26. We get some preliminary data pretty quickly. We can see individual student results. They don't actually release the statewide results that would determine some of these numbers until the fall, and then or in the summer, and then they still take until the fall to determine those cut scores and tell us what these lists will look like.
And we had a lot of growth in some of these schools that were previously on the list in those CCRPI results that we last saw
Correct.
from Dr. Brown, correct?
Correct. And
Okay.
like I said, the 3 schools that were on the Promise Scholarship list last year moved off the Promise Scholarship list. So,
Thank you, ma'am.
great news. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Persinger. For these next 2 action items, I'm going to ask Mr. John St. Clair to come up and discuss Dell Chromebooks RFP and the network switches RFP.
Thank you. Before I start on the Chromebooks one, this is the one we're going to ask you to please consider voting on tonight. Technology purchasing continues to be in turmoil. In fact, it's getting even worse since the last time I presented to you. It's now expected to last, some predictions are through 2028. We've had a couple purchases we've made, attempted to make, get rejected. We got quotes, we responded to them in a reasonably prompt amount of time, only for the vendor to turn around and tell us we can't honor the pricing we gave you only within a matter of days. So it's pretty terrible out there. And for this one, for the Dell Chromebook purchase, I had on Friday vendors tell me, yep, pricing's good through X amount of days. And then today, Dell themselves called me and said, our end of year is the end of January. Pricing's going up February 1st. If you can, you should make the purchase now. So it's very hard to get a straight answer, and the sooner we act, the more likely we are to be able to take advantage of the pricing. So in that light, as part of our ongoing 5-year technology refresh cycle, 3,000 Chromebooks are sought to replace end-of-life systems. An RFP was posted and 17 vendors responded. Low bid respondents Data Center Warehouse and Virtucom, that's the 2 lowest bids, met the terms of the RFP. They've got good references. They are not adversely listed in the SAM.gov database, and we've done business with Virtucom previously. Their SAM.gov entries are listed there. The financial impact, if we're able to get them from Data Center Warehouse, 3,000 Chromebooks will be $1,375,800 from ITS SPLOST technology funds. If Data Center Warehouse for some reason is not able to honor their bid, Virtucom, their response will be $1,409,250, again from ITS SPLOST technology refresh funds. The call from Dell today was in response to the low bids quote, so I feel fairly certain that we'll be able to get that. The superintendent recommends awarding the purchase of Dell Chromebooks to low bid respondent, Data Center Warehouse of Laguna Hills, California, in the amount of $458.60 per Chromebook, 3,000 Chromebooks for a total of $1,375,800, and authorization to use second low bid respondent Virtucom of Peachtree Corners, Georgia, if Data Center Warehouse is unable to fill the response, in the amount of $469.75 per Chromebook, 3,000 Chromebooks for a maximum total of $1,409,250.
Any questions? All right, we'll consider this after executive session. with
Thank
the
you very
personnel
much.
report.
This next one can go on the regular board meeting next week. As part of our ongoing technology improvement process, replacement network switchgear is sought for the PDC server room. An RFP was posted and 9 vendors responded. Low bid respondent Lockstep and met the terms of the RFP. They have a very good reputation in the industry. They've worked with us before, and they are not adversely listed in the SAM.gov database. This is going to be an E-rate purchase, so just a reminder how the E-rate program works. We are funded based on our free and reduced lunch count. Right now, with our free reduced lunch count for this year, we are expecting to be funded at the 80% level, meaning we get an 80% discount on technology purchases that are eligible. We anticipate the 80% for this purchase, which leaves us responsible for the remaining 20%. However, any E-rate purchase has to go through a vetting process with the federal government. They're here to help. It's possible that the final award may vary if they see a line item that's not approved or if they quibble a little bit about what we presented. So we anticipate E-rate paying for $91,598.13 of the total, leaving us the remaining $22,899.53 out of the pocket. If, however, our out-of-pocket responsibility exceeds more than 10% of anticipated, which means if we exceed $25,189.49 out of pocket, we'll bring this item back to the board for approval again. If we are below that threshold, we will just proceed with your approval without coming back to you. So the financial impact is $114,497.66 total. The anticipated E-rate portion funded is $91,598.13. The anticipated 20% district funded is $22,899.53 from splosh funds. I get choked up on this kind of thing. All right. Our maximum out-of-pocket, if there's a variance approved, will be a maximum total of $25,189.49 from splosh IT funds. The superintendent recommends awarding the purchase of network switchgear from low-bid respondent Lockstep Technology Group of Peachtree Corners, Georgia, in the amount of $114,497.66, with up to $91,598.13 of that total to be paid by federal E-rate funds, and between $22,899.53 and a maximum of $25,189.49 to be paid out of district splosh technology funds.
All right. Move to consent? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. St. Clair. For our final action item of the night, I'm going to ask Dr. Christina Lowe to come up and talk about a revision to policy JBC1, which has sat on the table for actually longer than a board meeting cycle. She's going to discuss that change.
Good evening. Tonight I am bringing forward policy JBC1, homeless students, for consideration of being placed on the consent agenda. This policy was previously reviewed during the November 18th board meeting. As a reminder, the proposed revisions stem from the most recent update to the federal definition of homelessness under the McKinney-Vento Homeless Assistance Act. At this time, the superintendent recommends removing policy JBC1, homeless students, from public review and adopting the proposed revision as presented.
Consent? All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lowe. That's all we have this evening. Thank you.
All right. Ms. Houston?
Good evening. Tonight I have one action item. In accordance with the Legacy Park sale agreement and policy DJED, the superintendent recommends approving a payment of $250,000 to the city of Winder to be funded out of general fund balance. This amount will be used and allocated towards the maintenance of the park in the future.
Consent? All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you. Dr. Brown?
Good evening. The Chief Academic Office Board of Education report contains 2 items of information and 1 action item for the February 3rd, 2026 Board of Education meeting. For our first item of information, Dr. Salethia James, our Director of Elementary Education, will provide updates regarding the Universal Screener data as part of Georgia House Bill 307, Georgia Early Literacy and Dyslexia Act. As part of implementing House Bill 307, all K-3 students in our district are screened 3 times per year with state-approved universal reading screeners to identify students at risk for reading difficulties, including dyslexia. District-level data will be shared to show how schools are using the results to determine next steps for our students. Dr. James?
Good evening. The Teaching and Learning Department is excited to provide middle-of-the-year updates as it relates to our universal screener data in Georgia House Bill 307, Georgia Early Literacy and Dyslexia Act. All schools completed the middle-of-the-year screener between November 17th and December 19th. The middle-of-the-year data provided a picture of how our students have progressed since the beginning of the year screener, areas of growth, and opportunities where schools are continuously providing support. To provide a brief overview of House Bill 307, all kindergarten through third grade students were screened for reading difficulties. House Bill 307 requires that all students in grades kindergarten through third grade receive a state-approved universal screener 3 times per year. Screener data is being used to provide targeted support and progress monitor. Schools collect additional data alongside the universal screener results to determine whether a student may have characteristics of dyslexia. This includes identifying patterns in reading performance that are typical of dyslexia, such as difficulties with decoding, phonological awareness, and fluency. With House Bill 307, the universal screener does not provide a medical diagnosis of dyslexia. Instead, it provides characteristics associated with dyslexia so schools can intervene early and provide evidence-based instruction and support. Parents also receive timely communication and resources to support their students at home. As mentioned, in accordance to House Bill 307, parents were notified if their child was identified as being significantly at risk of not attaining grade level proficiency. A significant reading deficiency has been operationalized by Georgia DOE as well below benchmark on our universal screener and other data sources. When analyzing our data, this chart provides an outline for students in grade level K through 3 that performed well below benchmark, at benchmark, and above benchmark during the beginning of the year universal screening window. We are excited to share that students in grades kindergarten through second grade decreased in the percentage of students in the well below benchmark, and students in grades kindergarten, first, and third grade decreased in below benchmark. So the interventions that our schools are using to support our students are showing great success. Overall, the total percentage of students in well below and below benchmark decreased, and the total percentage of students at benchmark and above increased. When reviewing our data, our students considered to be at risk of displaying characteristics of dyslexia from the beginning of the year to the middle of the year, we showed a significant decrease of students with the exception of kindergarten. When digging deeper into this data with Dr. Mitchum's department and Amplify, the literacy assessment system that provides our universal screener, we came to the conclusion that the measures and expectations for kindergarten students at the middle of the year increases significantly. We are confident that we'll see growth from the middle of the year to the end of the year, as the measures don't have a huge increase at that time. As mentioned, every student that is identified of not attaining grade level proficiency has a tiered reading support plan. The purpose of this plan is to ensure early identification, timely interventions, and ongoing progress monitoring as required by House Bill 307. If in some cases students do not make adequate progress, teachers will then provide targeted or intensive interventions or a different intervention to support students, and in most cases increases the frequency of the intervention. The rubric does not diagnose dyslexia. It identifies characteristics that warrant intervention. Per House Bill 307, we must provide parents with resources so that they are able to support their children at home in conjunction to what students are receiving at school. The Georgia Department of Education has done a great job with creating a repository of resources on their website that we are able to share with families. They also provide information, resources specifically tailored to supporting their child's reading development. Are there any questions? Perfect.
Thank you.
Our second item of information is the revision of the BCSS instructional frameworks. We're excited to share a little bit with you about this work. The BCSS instructional frameworks are currently being revised to ensure alignment with the Georgia Department of Education's instructional frameworks and board policy BAB. On this slide, you can see our current BCSS framework compared to the Georgia DOE's revised English Language Arts instructional framework. The Georgia DOE model represents a shift from task-oriented instruction towards a student-centered, competency-based approach. This shift places students' thinking and application at the center of learning and provides clearer expectations for instructional rigor and engagement aligned with state guidance. Our updated BCSS instructional frameworks will clearly outline both teacher instructional practices and student learning behaviors. This structure supports consistent, high-quality instruction across all of our classrooms from pre-K through 12. The revision will be aligned with Board Policy BAB and the Georgia DOE frameworks. Also, as we continue our strategic planning efforts, this district-wide framework will establish common, high-impact instructional expectations across grade levels and content areas, providing that clarity and support for our teachers and our administrators. To get a little bit more specific about some of these considered updates, so I've already mentioned the alignment with the BAB policy, and so elements that we want to include from that policy within our new framework will be including standards-focused instruction, also the use of high-quality resources, the importance of monitoring student learning, and accountability and support. We will also continue embedding concepts from the Barrow County Learner Profile so that our instructional model reflects the skills and dispositions that we want for all of our graduates. Finally, the framework part of this, it shifts from the traditional lesson structure of opening, mini-lesson, work session, closing, to 4 components that really prioritize student engagement and learning behaviors. So the first section would be engage, which is the purpose is to spark curiosity and activate prior knowledge to connect students immediately to the text or topic. Focus, which provides explicit teaching of the critical skill or the standard. Explore and apply, which would allow students to investigate, process, and apply skills through active learning. And communicate and reflect. This would promote metacognition as students articulate their understanding, reflect on their learning, and connect ideas to a broader concept. A key feature of this instructional framework is that each component would include the expectations for both teacher practices and also student actions. And that's a big piece of the change from the framework that we have been using to the new revised frameworks, and especially what we're seeing at the DOE. We're currently gathering staff feedback, with each school engaging in an activity that examines teacher instructional practices and those student learning behaviors. This process will ensure that our framework is responsive, supportive, and meaningful across all classrooms, because we really do want this to extend from pre-K, and beyond. Once that feedback is reviewed, we will finalize the revised instructional framework and prepare for implementation beginning in the 26-27 school year. And we're really excited that this revision will result in a cohesive district-wide resource that will clearly articulate those high-impact practices. Throughout the rest of this year, we will develop supporting guidance, resources, and professional learning to ensure a strong rollout and a consistent implementation. Any questions about this? Okay. We're excited to share more. We just wanted you to hear some of the things that we're working on. Okay. We also have one action item for the February 3rd, 2026 Board of Education meeting. The superintendent recommends a temporary waiver of policy IHE, promotion and retention, through July 31st, 2026. Under direction of the Georgia Department of Education, school districts with flexibility contracts, like our charter system, can use input from teachers and parents, placement committees, class performance, and formative tools to determine the need to promote or retain students. With this waiver, promotion retention decisions for the 25-26 school year will not be based solely on performance of the Georgia Milestones test. Also, just to note, in the coming months, our team, including executive cabinet, directors, and principals, will be looking more closely at our current policy IHE to determine if revisions are needed to this policy. However, with the timing that this will take to get appropriate feedback, consider any necessary revisions, we did want to go ahead and recommend this temporary waiver. Any questions?
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. This concludes my report.
Dr. Kurtz.
All right. This evening, the Chief of Staff Board Report contains one item of information and two action items. Mr. Joe Perno, our Assistant Superintendent for Operations, is going to lead us off with some information regarding our facility renovations, and then move into an action item regarding some athletics. Mr. Perno.
Good evening. An update on building renovations. We've got improvements at Hammond Morris Middle School, Winder High School, and Bear Creek Middle School. These are primarily summer projects, and Hammond Morris will take place over the course of 2 summers. But where we can find other opportunities to get in the buildings, we want to do that and grab some of the work. And so over the winter break, our contractor, Charles Black Construction, was able to get into Hammond Morris and complete a significant amount of the interior lighting retrofit. And so I'd say somewhere in the neighborhood of 60 to 70% of the interior lighting has been changed out to LED lighting, much better lighting, clean, consistent, and in the classrooms they have they can dim the lighting there when the teachers need to show a video or presentation. So over spring break, we look to get in and complete that scope of work at Hammond Morris, and also begin the lighting retrofit at Bear Creek Middle School. So just a quick update on those couple of pieces there. Any questions on that? Okay. So for our action item this evening, this is associated with system athletic improvements. And I'd like to take a step back and just talk about a couple of pieces that have led us here to this point this evening for our recommendation. In May of 2025, Cunningham, Forehand, Matthews, and Moore was approved by our board for system athletic improvements. In August of 2025, the board approved Parish Construction Group as construction manager for system athletic improvements. Throughout the fall, these entities have worked with one another, district staff, school administration, coaches, subcontractors, and vendors to design and plan this project. The project scope includes resurfacing of tracks at Appalachia High School and Winder High School, new digital scoreboards at the Appalachia High School and Winder High School stadiums, replacement fencing and backstop netting at the Appalachia High School and Winder High School stadiums and baseball and softball areas, as well as athletic field lighting at the Appalachia High School practice field and our middle school fields. There are also associated ancillary site and facility improvements. Examples of this would be drainage work associated with the track improvements. The stadium parking lot lighting at Winder High School is in need of improvement in that athletic space, so we've included that. And also issues we've had with drainage at Winder's baseball dugout area. So that's this piece of the system athletic improvements. And just to make a couple more points, this is just one component of the overall system athletic improvements. Another big piece to this is the athletic complex at the Barrow Arts and Sciences Academy. These same groups and people are working diligently on the design and plan of that particular piece, and we hope to have a guaranteed maximum price recommendation to you in the fall for that component piece. There are other pieces that are out there that we haven't even looked at or studied, and we'll get to those in due time in the months ahead. But these are the big couple of pieces right now that we've focused on. I also want to really thank our architect, our construction manager, our district and school staff. The principals and coaches have been out at the tracks and the ball fields walking with us and talking about the scope of work and what needs to be accomplished, and they've been a tremendous help to us. Particularly want to point out Joey Murphy, our project manager. He's been at the tip of this spear, pulling everybody together, keeping us all moving in the same direction, and helping us to learn everything we can about these different pieces. So he's been terrific, and we really appreciate his efforts. The rationale behind this, behind these district facility improvements, we need to replace items that are at or nearing end of useful service with tracks, fencing, and scoreboards in the range of 15 to 25 years old. Worn areas are increasingly difficult to repair, and in some instances and application, the replacement parts are soon, they'll be obsolete. The addition of field lighting will allow for more availability of field space for the many athletic activities our schools offer, including middle school football and soccer. The financial impact is $5,876,900 to be funded by SPLOST. We're asking the superintendent to recommend approval of a guaranteed maximum price in the amount of $5,876,900 from Parrish Construction Group to complete athletic facility upgrades. Any questions?
Consent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Our Director of Human Resources, Megan McNally, is under the weather today, and so I will do my best to present our last action item on her behalf. And this is continuing our conversation from earlier this month around benefits. We bid out our benefits brokerage, put out a request for proposal in November, and have gone through 2 rounds of review for that. One was a paper round with a variety of representatives on that team, and then the 3 highest scoring companies came in for a final round, which included interviews from not just their sales folks, but their management folks, the folks who would directly manage our benefits, as well as the technology folks, because we're hoping to get some technology integration out of this and leverage that for some better support, better services, and lower overall costs. Through that process, we had 9 folks submit proposals. Of those, 6 met the minimum qualifications. The team in the end, through those 2 levels of review, as well as some pretty significant time spent talking to current references and users of each of these benefits programs, selected your One Source Solution, or YOS, as our benefits broker to begin in January of 2027. We'll spend the course of this school year working internally with our benefits team. That includes representatives from all positions, so that we can look at what we can improve. We can look at what we can improve in terms of both benefit offerings as well as education and information offerings, so that as we roll out those new offerings during open enrollment in October, we are able to both improve what we're offering and our staff's understanding of those offerings. We're excited about that work, particularly given that we've been working with YOS for about 19 months now to get some digital efficiencies. They have some human resources software that have allowed us to drop a number of other subscription-based softwares. Our hiring platform just rolled out in the last month, and we're excited to have a new hiring platform. It's a little more efficient for our principals and others. But it also cuts down on entry, so that folks aren't having to enter people from a hiring platform to a benefits platform to a financial software package. All of these things integrate better and talk with each other through some fairly automated processes. At this time, the superintendent recommends approving your One Source Solution, or YOS, as the benefits broker for Barrow County School System, beginning service on January 1st, 2027. Are there any questions regarding this?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
On this contract, on the 3rd of the term, it says that it started on June. Is this the lease and term?
No.
It's in the term?
No.
Which one am I looking at? I thought this was, yeah. Which one is this one?
It's not either.
Thank you, Dr. Kurtz.
Thank you much.
All right. All right. At this time, could I have a motion for executive session to discuss or deliberate upon the appointment, employment, compensation, hiring, disciplinary action or dismissal, or periodic evaluation or rating of a public officer or employee, or to interview applicants for the position of superintendent?
So moved, Dr. Carey.
Second. Motion.
You got it.
Motion by Dr. Carey, second by Ms. Lord. All right. All in favor? All right.
My name is Corinne Mathis, and I'm a senior at Appalachia High School. I grew up in, of course, Barrow County, and I've been here all 18 years of my life. Growing up, I was really surrounded by family, and that's really all I know is my family. They taught me how to be the strong person that I am today and the strong speaker that I am now. I was heavily involved in church and outgoing programs. So when I got into high school, I was really prepared in joining all the clubs that I can and getting super involved with my community, because that's how I was raised. Skills USA shaped me into being a great person and a great leader for my community. I know a lot of people say that Skills USA helps them make friends or figure out their occupation for the future. But for me, Skills USA has just become a lot more than that. With Skills USA, I've learned to speak up and explain myself in better ways than I ever could before. It made me realize that there are people here to help me and help me understand my future and what I want to do. And it also did help me make friends. My teacher that has made an outlasting impression on me is Ms. Pugh. She was I first met her my freshman year as my criminal justice teacher. And honestly, I didn't like her at first because she was really strict and didn't really put up with a lot. But over the years, I've learned to love her. She's learned to put up with me. And she also introduced me to Skills USA, which has become one of the best things that I ever could have got involved in. And so honestly, I couldn't thank her enough for being the woman that she is. And I hope to have her in my life for a long time. I think that I'm really proud of all of the accomplishments I've done. Obviously, the expected answer would be me becoming state officer for Skills USA, because that is a big accomplishment and it takes a lot of work to become that. But honestly, from the small things such as me doing community service or me earning an internship at our local library, it's the little things that make me the person I am today, along with the big things. After I graduate, I plan to attend North Carolina A&T, which is obviously based in North Carolina, to pursue my career in psychology. I honestly want to just do something that is a community service-based occupation. So whether that's doing social work or me becoming a counselor at a school or me just owning something that could help the community would be really great. But the main focus right now is clinical psychology. One piece of advice I would give myself as a freshman is to slow down and enjoy the little things in life. I really learned to enjoy going to football games and basketball games and stuff like that over the years. But I know when I was starting at Appalachia, I was really prepared to just take off running and join every single club or organization that was offered to me. But I didn't stop and go to the little games and do the little things that I really would have appreciated now.
There was a little episode that happened with you here recently, wasn't it? Huh? What happened on October 17th? In the afternoon, I think, wasn't it? At night? What happened? His house caught on fire. Did y'all know that? No. You do now? Yeah. Listen to how important, this is important stuff now. We're in the middle of fire prevention, we're coming up on the end of Fire Prevention Month. We've probably been out here with fire trucks for third graders. And so you've probably seen us, and you've probably gone through a fire safety educational moment during your school time, I'm sure. If you're not, you will. Yeah, so we try to hit all the third graders and teach them a little something about fire safety. He paid attention. He knew what he was supposed to do. And all these people over here are here to congratulate him on a good job of what he did that day. He alerted everybody in the house and got everybody out of the house. Nobody got hurt. It's important stuff. It's very important stuff to be able to do. He knew exactly what to do. And everybody got out. Yeah. You were in Oconee County? So we have representatives from Oconee County, Barrow County, and Adams Clark County here because we all touch some part of being fire safe, okay? We're good with that?
Yes, sir.
So what we're gonna do is recognize Bentley and his brother. His brother. Come up here, Bentley. Ain't no big old topper. Were you part of this? You were? Everybody got out? Everybody got safe? The firefighters came over and put that fire out pretty quick? Everybody did a good job. Okay. So what I want to do is, there's a couple of things we want Bentley to get a hold of right quick. Lieutenant, bring me some things up here. So what we did, just we got Bentley a fire helmet just in case he might need it again. Well, try it out. Try it out. Well, let me. Try that. Now, get a picture of that. All right. Everybody get it?
That's awesome.
You got this.
That's awesome.
So, I have one more thing I want to give you though. And I don't hand these out much, but I do hand them out occasionally. And you can probably ask some of my fire guys over there if they get them all the time, they'll tell you no. So what I have here is what we call an above and beyond coin that says that you went above and beyond the job of what you were supposed to do. And on the back of it, St. Florence was protector of all firefighters. So there you go, protected fire. Good enough? You might have seen call somebody else at the top. All right, next, I'll tell y'all how important this is. I'm going to call up next the mayor of Auburn, Linda Blanchard, to come up and say a few words to you guys, okay? Mayor?
Hey, everybody. What a great time this is to come and to say congratulations to somebody that you go to school with that did something really heroic.
It's not my best friend.
I know.
Yeah, she met
And your brother too. So I was thinking about how I would feel if I was in my house and the house caught on fire. I'd feel really scared, right? I think each one of us would say that. You may have felt a little bit scared when you were in the house, but being brave means doing the right thing, even though you're scared, because everybody feels that nervousness and feel scared when something is going on that's big like that. So, Finley, I just want to say congratulations. You are a hero in my book. And I hope that you remember all of your life for your future, that even though you may feel scared, just like you did at that day when your house caught on fire, or when your maybe house caught on fire, you still did what you were trained to do. And that's really, really what makes a hero. So congratulations, buddy.
All right, I got somebody else I need to come up here. He's the commissioner of this district, Commissioner Alex Ward from the Barrow County Commission. Commissioner Ward.
Good morning, guys. a lot of what Mayor Blankinger said is absolutely right. You know, I would feel the same way if my house caught on fire. I would feel scared. And I can tell you, I know professionals who trained and trained and trained that sometimes forget their training when it's an actual emergency and in the heat of the moment. So Bentley, the fact that you are able to remember exactly what to do right in that moment, in that emergency, says a lot about you and a lot about your character. And so I'm really proud of what you've done. Proud that you're able to get everybody out of your house. You are, as Mayor Blankinger said, a hero in my book as well. You and your brother, congratulations on what you did. I hope everybody else remembers this lesson and remembers that, hey, it's important to constantly practice so that way when a real emergency hits, you know exactly what to do. Great job, Brett.
You're not doing this. Famous, getting there. I'd like to call up the chiefs from Oconee County. Come up here, guys. I think they have some swag for you.
So we would like to just say thank you, and Cliff has brought some little goodies. You mind coming back up just a little bit?
We got something for you. We also have something for family. Yeah, I'm getting a little small. So we got to think of what can we bring, and what people always love are t-shirts. We got t-shirts for y'all, and these are our patches that we have for y'all. And because the family did such a great job in their part in all this, which is also very key, we brought y'all some smoke alarms for y'all's house. We did good job, guys. That's it? Yes, sir. Yeah.
He gave us
Mom, they were all in your house, weren't they? They all got up.
Yes.
They all alerted.
Yes.
They did everything they were supposed to do.
Yes, they did.
That's a win. So we did the right thing. Mom, you did a great thing. Thank you. Thank you. Come on. This is Lieutenant, this is Lieutenant Gomes with Bear County Fire Marshal Office.
You can't forget me, just like what's the last name, it's like Chewy, Bubble, all that. Now you know, right? So I'm education, prevention for Barrow County, and I wanted to have been. We're gonna make you also the honorary fire marshal of your house and dad's house, mom and dad. Everywhere you go, you're the fire marshal, right? So you gotta check, make sure everybody has what in the house. That's right. And we're just gonna show everybody how to test them. Do you know how to test them? Well, you can learn all that. I'll teach you. We'll teach you. Me and Emily, we do that. We'll come out here and we'll talk to you about testing the fire alarms. When you get out, your home escape plan. If you get outside, if everybody gets outside the house, you go back in for anything? No. No. Who goes back in and gets whatever you're... That's right. All you guys out here, you let them go back in, right? Thank you for doing what you did.
These ladies right here go through a lot of training to be able to train you about how to do fire safety, and they did a great job. And I appreciate the hard work that they do day in and day out, and salute them too. Okay, so give them a big applause. All right, this wraps up this award ceremony. I thank you for being here, thank you for clapping, and thank you, Bentley, for doing what you did. Y'all did a great job. All right? Thank you.
Okay, Scott, this is a gift from Dr. Chris McMichael. He is excited to recognize you as October Community Member of the Month. Ms. Pugh nominated you, and we're thrilled that you will let us celebrate some of the great things you do in this community.
So I guess y'all know my name is Captain Dakin. I actually enjoy the interactions with the kids. I pick on them, they pick on me, and it's a lot of fun. But I love the way they ask questions. I've had some really good questions out of these students, and I think I make a difference in trying to help them to realize that there's lots of opportunities out there. I encourage them to work hard to get to where they want to be.
He's been a guest speaker in our classes for around 17 years, we believe.
Yeah.
And he was had such an impact on students that they kept asking for him to come back. And so he actually comes and speaks on different topics for all 4 levels of our classes. I had 2 former students, and their house caught on fire several years ago, and they said that they remembered what to do based on him being in our classrooms.
It was a little over 29 years ago. I was setting up a polling booth at the Auburn Fire Station, and one of the guys said, "Why don't you come down Tuesday night and see what it's like?" And ever since then, I've been a firefighter. And that led me into EMS, and eventually I gave up a position that I had managing a corporation to become a full-time firefighter. Well, we are finally at the point in this world where we're talking about mental health inside of public safety. I actually teach courses. I teach them around, actually all over the world now. But stress management is key in being able to, I push it because I have been diagnosed with PTSD. I push the stress management stuff very hard on my folks. And one of the things I tell them is it's not just when it happens. You've got to be open to talk all the time. You create that culture. And we have created a culture inside of Barrow County is so far ahead of the game on that we've created a culture where you get to talk mental health. We can recommend you to a counselor if you need it, and there's no shame in that. Because what we see, what we do, and just life in general, sometimes you just need a little help in this.
So my name is Elena Lee, and I'm with Northeast Georgia Medical Center, which leads Safe Kids Northeast Georgia. Today, this is our booster seat program. So this program is designed to educate the whole household on booster safety. We start with the children at the elementary school, where we host an educational assembly. And then after we host the assembly, we measure each child to make sure that they qualify for a free booster seat. And then today's event is when the parent comes to pick up that free booster seat. So we've already educated the child, and now we're educating the parent, therefore the whole household. Safety is number 1. Child passenger safety is our biggest safety area. Unfortunately, we see that's the highest area of injury among children in our region. So we're putting heavy emphasis on safety and utilizing these booster seats that we're providing them with. So Safe Kids Northeast Georgia is funded by our annual marketplace event. It's a holiday shopping event that's hosted by the Medical Center and presented by Willis Investment Council. And you can help out what we do here at Safe Kids by attending that marketplace event. It's located in Gainesville, Georgia, November 3rd through 5th.
So my name is Virginia Fullwood. I'm with the Georgia Ag Experience from the Georgia Foundation for Agriculture.
My name's Ashley Lowry, and I'm with Farm Bureau Barrow County, and I'm the office manager. I'm Elizabeth Shirley, and I'm with Barrow County Farm Bureau, and I'm the agent secretary.
So we are at Barrow County Elementary School, and this is the Georgia Ag Experience. It is a experience focused around agriculture. We travel around the state of Georgia. During the school year, we predominantly teach at public and private schools all over the state. We're trying to show them the effects that agriculture have on their everyday life. Another great feature about this is people view agricultural careers as someone standing on a farm with a pitchfork and overalls, and in reality, there's numerous fields in agriculture. There's technological fields, biology, engineering, mechanics. So this also exposes them to the ever-growing need that agriculture has for future careers. I would also like to say that agriculture is Georgia's #1 industry. We make more money in the state of Georgia off of agriculture than anything else. So what that means is future opportunities for these kids, and it's important to share agriculture with them so they know what opportunities they have.
I think a lot of the kids too were just saying, oh, it's just a farmer, or just, and so getting to see that, like, oh no, you can do sales in agriculture, you can do, you can be a farmer, you can be a rancher, you can, you can use technology. They thought that was the coolest thing, and so realizing like that it's not just in the past, it can be now too,
Hi, my name is Zahara Jones, and I'm a senior at Barrow Arts and Sciences Academy. I chose to come to BASA because I saw that it is a school that heavily focuses on your pathways, and my pathway that I'm very passionate about is theater. So when I saw that they had a really cool theater program, I was like, this is a place for me. And when I did come here, their theater program is excellent. From the get-go, Ms. Padasol had so many excellent courses, classes, and performance opportunities that I was very excited to join. So currently I am in 2 sports, volleyball and soccer, and those sports have impacted me so heavily. They have given me 2 amazing communities that both love the sport just as much as I do. And so for volleyball, I have an amazing community, and I love, love, love going to practice. I love all of my girls, and we all love to work hard together. We've also done a lot of team bonding together. So when I go to school every day, I know I have people I can go to, talk to, and people that all love the same sport. And that goes the same for soccer. And every day, being in those sports makes me more passionate. It makes me want to keep practicing, and getting better. And it helps me set a lot of goals. Some of my most memorable experiences at BASA has actually been the trips.
All right, we're back in session. Could I have a motion to approve the personnel report as presented by the superintendent?
So moved, Mr. Callaway.
Second, Ms. Hendricks.
Motion by Mr. Callaway, second by Ms. Hendricks. All in favor? All right. I also need a motion to approve the purchase of the Dell Chromebooks. Motion by Ms. Bradford, second.
Second, Mr. Callaway.
I want to recuse myself.
All right. Second by Mr. Callaway. Any discussion? All in favor? Okay. Motion carries 7-1. All right. We have our February 3rd board meeting next week. And Ms. Bradford, you will have the invocation. All right. With no further business, we will now adjourn.